My name is Matthew Champ, and I've got daddy issues.
My name's Chris Kingsbury, and I have daddy issues.
And this is Daddy Issues with Champ and Kingsbury. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 3.
Episode 3.
Well, actually, technically, episode 2, because we're calling our first episode our pilot episode, because...
Definitely want to write that one off.
Yeah, well, and we're finding our groove. I said we'll be good by, episode 5. We have a solid format. We got great guests. We're having a lot of fun. But I think that we'll have the quality that we need in the sound and in the delivery by episode 5.
Yeah, when you really get into drugs, you really find the way you want to do drugs. And podcasting is like a little bit of a drug.
It really is. It really is. It's actually been a while since Chris and I have sat down to record. We recorded with Ward Anderson, who's our guest this week, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. We recorded with him a week ago, a week and a half ago. And Chris and I hadn't seen each other for almost 2 weeks before that.
It was a big gap in time.
You had your sister-in-law in town?
She didn't stay for the full length. Thank God. What? No, she had left early. The kid was not doing well. And that'd be a lesson if you're going to travel with your significant other, because it really does help in those younger years. But anyway, then the gardening's been going full tilt with the wife. And what about you, Champ? What you been up to?
I went to New York City. Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I did some shows in New York City. I saw a lot of shows in New York City. I actually got to go on stage at the Comedy Store.
Yes, I do remember seeing those
David
photos.
Tell and Jeff Ross invited my buddy Simon Celine and myself up on stage, and we did some bumping mics.
Yeah, that's super. Kind of got an envy boner.
It was a lot of fun, man. And then we went to Gotham. Gotham's a fantastic club, man. We saw Godfrey headline there.
Oh, wonderful. He's a wonderful act.
He's a killer.
A very, very nice man off stage as well.
Yeah. No, everybody was nice.
Yeah.
We went to the Cellar a bunch of times, saw Nathan McIntosh, Joe Mackey.
Oh, right on. I haven't seen Nathan in a long time.
Yeah, Simon's going to hate me for saying this. Simon fucking heckled Nathan McIntosh.
Fuck off!
Yeah.
Oh.
So what ended up happening is Simon was in the washroom, and Nathan went up first. And Simon came out of the washroom, and Nathan was kind of engaging the Canadians in the crowd, because... he's Canadian, but also the Raptors, right? The Raptors were in the playoffs, and so a few of us were like, "We the North," and he's like, you guys can say that, but I have to stay here." And then Simon walked out and just thought that everybody was talking to Nathan, so he's like, "Hey, Nathan!" and he's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he's like, "It's Simon from Absolute Comedy." And he's like, "Simon, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I came to see you." He's like, "This is a comedy show." Of all the people to know not to yell out in a comedy show.
Be the number one door guy.
Shut the fuck up, Simon. Then that story got back to John Fish, because John Fish was the one that got us in. We were in standby, and John Fish walks by and goes, "Oh, hey, Simon." And everybody knows Simon Celine.
Yeah, Simon Celine.
There's an "Oh, hey, Simon" story. We're going to have him on to record some ads sometime. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a great kid.
And John Fish was like, "Oh, no, just let this guy's in, So we got in through standby, off the standby list, and went in. So that fucking, of course, comes back to John Fish. And then the next night, we're having dinner with Moody McCarthy, who's another New York comedian. And he's like, "What the fuck were you doing? We've all heard that this, Ottawa comedian heckled Nathan McIntosh." And I'm like, "Simon, Simon.
Fucking
I love Simon, though.
I do too.
It was such a fun trip.
He sent me a text today. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday? Or Saturday? You want to go rent some Lamborghinis and Ferraris?" And I'm like, "Simon, that sounds awesome, send." And then the next one was like, "But I have fucking children, and I'm not going anywhere doing that." Oh my God.
I was like, "I can't drive stick, first off."
Oh, damn, you can't drive stick?
I can't drive stick. I'm waiting for Kate's car to die a little bit more so she can teach me how to drive stick on it.
Yeah, so we're the clutch.
Yeah, I figure I can learn it pretty quickly.
It's not bad, it's just a point.
And so I can't drive stick, but also, I just went to New York City and spent way more money than I should have spent.
Yeah.
We went and saw Beetlejuice on Broadway.
Take off.
Dude, it was one of the best Broadway shows I've ever seen.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And so then I came back and I had a whole week of shows, right? I was featuring for Mike Dambra and Ward Anderson.
And Ward, and we recorded on Sunday. So, yeah, it's great to see those guys. Glad they came down.
We'll get Mike Dambra on a future episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to talk with Mike.
You know what? We jumped straight into this without even talking about what we're drinking.
Yeah, we were drinking. We are drinking Vinny Brewing Company's finest samples they have sent us.
They actually gave us beer, guys. Like, they gave us alcohol.
That's right. They were like, please leave. Take these booze and get out.
And, they're like, it's Sunday at 6 a.m., why do you need this right now? No, it's 9 a.m. That's illegal.
It was totally.
I don't even know. We were recording at 9. We got them the night before. I was trying to make a joke. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Vinny runs an excellent comedy room there once a month, and we.
What did you say it was called?
Well, it's started off with the Vimy Brew, we're changing that. It's very campy. We're gonna go with Vimy Comedy Night. And just keep it simple. We're just once a month show, and they've been more than generous to supply us with a budget and a venue and an incredible atmosphere for comedy.
Yeah, and you know what? Their beer is delicious.
Absolutely delicious.
We went through 4 different types of beer in this interview. Like, we don't talk about it during the interview. We're just progressively getting more drunk
as things go. Yeah.
But they're stout. I'm not even a stout fan. I don't like stouts, and I loved it. There's like a nice sweetness to it. The sweetness masked that bitterness that I don't normally like about stouts.
And I don't like IPAs with passion, and I can drink their IPA. Their IPA is delicious.
I make Chris drink a lot of IPAs. That's just because I'm a little bit more hipster than he is.
Definitely bigger beard.
It is a bigger beard and more plaid, but like it's more like hipstery plaid.
Definitely hipster.
This looks like a bowling shirt. You guys can't see this, but I'm wearing my bowling shirt plaid tonight.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's out to knock down some pins.
They have amazing red.
Yeah, the red was good, and let's not forget their cream ale, what they're calling, which is their standard lager. They named it that, but it's just crisp and it's clean. And as far as wheat beers go, if you're a fan of wheat beers, you have to try Vimy's wheat beer, because I am a fan of wheat beers. It is one of the best out there.
Here's the thing, is like, I will go to a brewery and I'll try a bunch of their beers, and I will always find a shitty beer amongst them. I have not found that at Vimy Brew Company.
Yeah.
So, they're Ottawa-based. Check them out if you're in the Ottawa area, if you're driving through Ottawa.
Loretta and Gladstone.
Right. You can like look them up. Dude, you know what? Also, if you're in Ontario, go to the LCBOs and ask for it, right?
Absolutely. Like, you can order it online as well, and they'll ship through the LCBO.
So thank you for our 10 listeners for taking our advice, and I know that at least one of our listeners is pregnant, so she's not drinking.
No, that's true. That's true. No. Thank you. Shout out to
the pregnant ladies.
Shout out to the pregnant ladies.
We're actually drinking different beers while we're recording this podcast.
This comes from Whippersnapper Brewing Company.
I like them. They're in Bell's Corners. They're one of my favorite.
They do have hoppy edges to stuff, but this mango was good. It could have used more mango, but it was still good. And the German traditional ale they had the other day was very delicious.
I think that's like the Alsch or something.
Yeah, the Alsch.
I'm a huge fan of their Agent Orange IPA. It kind of tastes like, do you remember McDonald Drank?
Take off. Really?
Yeah. It tastes like carbonated McDonald Drank.
Wow. That is... I'm not sure if I want that in a beer, but now I want to taste it.
No, man. I bought 4 of them. I drank them that night. We don't have problems.
Not at all.
I'm drinking from the Napanee Beer Company, also like another Ontario area beer, the Blacklist. It's a black German lager. I really like dark beers that aren't stouts or porters. But like, you give me a black IPA or a black lager, and I really dig it. And this one I dig. It's got like the right level of bitterness, but it's smooth. Like, it's dry but smooth. You got the chocolate and some of the coffee in there. Yeah, good. But it's also got like the crispness of a German beer, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
that good finish, the sharp.
You know, the sharp finish that you liked about that Whippersnapper German ale.
Yeah,
that's what's
that same thing. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, so that's our beer. We've been catching up on our week. There's been a lot of comedy. Chris has a lot of comedy coming up.
Bunch of stuff coming up.
You know, we're going to take a second before we really jump into this episode, just to kind of like, we know that there's a new podcast out there also called Daddy Issues, and it's going to be a little bit more popular than ours because it's being run at the Comedy Store, and it's being hosted by Canadian douchebag Dean McDermott.
Douchebaggery!
Here's the thing, right? Like, every wife he's been with, he's met while he's been banging some other... Like you know, it's...
Doesn't like when he's under, he gets underneath another.
He's got such little respect. He's not repentant about that shit. Like you know, it'd be one thing like if it's like I made a mistake, but he does it time and time and again. And I know he talks on his podcast about it as being his biggest regret. It should be your biggest regret. You're a fucking dirtbag.
Also, personal judgments aside on this one, we've been branding this show since way back in January, and fuck you, McDermott. I don't mean that in a serious sense.
Here's the thing, like it's not like he knew, because like really back in January when we started this, we had an Instagram account with like 20 followers and a Twitter account with like 10 followers. Like, and we had the email address and you know the Facebook page set up, but like we weren't actively promoting this because we were writing it. We wanted to make sure we were bringing, and you know what, Daddy Issues is such a common name. I'm sure there's other podcasts out there called Daddy Issues. We just don't want to be seen as copycats, but we also want to recognize that guy's kind of a douchebag. And if you want to listen to a douchebag, you can listen to a douchebag. We're kind of douchebags too sometimes, but we're not like a douchebag in the way that's
a douchebag. No.
So, you know, like, if you're going to choose one Daddy Issues to get into, like, get into our Daddy Issues.
That's right. Our Daddy Issues need the support.
And you know what? Maybe his podcast is great. Maybe it is. But I
don't really care.
I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right. So, fucking on that.
We've come back, and we'll be talking with Ward Anderson, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Ward Anderson. Ward Anderson, he has a special that just came out on Amazon Prime.
That's right.
He used to have a show on Sirius XM called The Warren Al Show.
Yeah.
He is the voice behind many commercials.
And clearly one's right now with Boston Pizza.
Yes, he's the voice of Boston Pizza. Yeah.
He also has 2 novels, 2 books that you can get readily on Amazon. He'll be plugging them a little bit later. You'll be able to hear all the links to that. And just a really interesting dad to have on the program.
Yeah, and so we kind of talked about one big theme, and that was really kind of being on the road.
Yeah.
Right? Ward travels a lot. He's got a wife. And he's got 2 kids.
2 lovely daughters. Yeah.
2 lovely daughters. And he's not on the road as much as he used to be, but he is on the road. He's going to talk a little bit about that. He's going to talk about what life is like being away from his family, how he stays connected with his family. And then he gives us some really good advice at the end.
Yeah, I think everything's going to be... it's a good show. And well, thank you guys for paying attention. And here we are.
Yeah. So we'll be right back. Or, you know what? We might not be right back. There might be music here. There might be an ad here.
We don't know.
Ah! Karaoke. Loved by many, hated by few, drunkenly adored by all. Has this ever happened to you after a night of drinking at a karaoke bar?
Good Lord, Tabernacle, I want to sing that song, but I can't remember what it's called. You know that song?
No, Jean-Francois, we don't know that song. You're drunk. Well, worry no more, my drunken friends. Karaoke Shazam, better known as Kazam, is a new app to help you out of those embarrassing moments.
Hey, Kazam, what is this song?
You would like to sing My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
Wait, that's the one!
Don't miss out on your turn at karaoke. Kazam! Download today!
Kazam is not affiliated in any sort of way with Shazam. Please do not sue us. Fuck these songs too long, man. I mean, dark, yeah.
All right, everybody, we've got our guest for the week, Ward Anderson, with us. Say hi, Ward.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hi, Ward.
I'm just waiting for everybody to respond.
I've got a little bit of a sore throat, but I'm okay.
It's good.
Good having you in the studio, Ward. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Awesome. So this week's discussion and topics, we've kind of come to the conclusion that it's the biggest challenges we've found with parenting. I have found just basically making time for the kids is one of my toughest things.
Right.
Just being locked into full-time jobs and then comedy in the evening. About yourself?
Well, how about, just before we even jump in there, people should know who Ward is.
That's fair enough. We know who Ward is, and a lot of people know who Ward is, but other people won't know who Ward is.
Ward Anderson, he's got a comedy special coming out on Amazon Prime.
Yep. July 9th.
July 9th. He used to have the Ward and Al show on
Sirius
XM.
Yeah.
You're not with Sirius anymore?
No.
Oh,
he's got two publicized books, two public books that you can buy readily on Amazon.
Two novels.
Yep.
Ward Anderson. Just look up Ward Anderson.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And that's how you can find the credentials behind Ward. Do your own.
Do your own work.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is, I'm on a different schedule than a lot of people, so finding time to be with them isn't my problem as much. I'm not touring like I used to, but that is the problem. I had to scale back my touring for that reason, because it's one thing to go away, for like, say you fly out on a Friday and you're home on a Sunday or something like that, where if you're that kind of level of comedian or whatever, you're that kind of successful, then maybe it's a different story. But when you go away 5, 6, 7 days at a time, it isn't, and to do that full time like I used to, where I was doing 40 something weeks a year on the road like that, I could never do that now, because it not only is it not fair to the kid, but it's really not fair to my wife.
Yeah.
It's really not fair to my wife, because you're talking about somebody who's,
also
essentially got to become a single parent for the time I'm gone, who also has her own very demanding career. So
you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
How old are they again?
5 and 2.
5 and 2, and they're both little girls. So they're at the point where they realize like Dad is on the road and he's not around all the time.
Yeah, and they don't like it.
Oh man.
So I mean, so I'm touring less and all that. So I have more time. I can't make I can't. You can say you've got all this work going on, so it's hard for you to have that time.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to say that lately. So, but I think I think one of the hardest things about parenthood actually is how it changes you and your spouse.
Okay,
right.
That's important. Like, so I'm a therapist by trade, and some of the clients that I see actually are they're like, we're empty nesters now. Our kids have left. We haven't had real intimacy with each other for 18 years or 20 years, right? So how do you keep, and you're in a double whammy position because you're also traveling on weekends, right?
Yeah.
Not every weekend, but
yeah.
You're traveling enough weekends. So how are you doing, what are you doing to keep your marriage alive? That's an important conversation to have too.
Yeah, no, mostly, we mostly do cocaine. I find that
this hour brought to you by cocaine. Good for relationships and keep.
No, don't say that. None of that is true.
No, we're not at that break yet either.
None of that is true. Do not listen to Chris.
Because we all know he doesn't.
Do not bring cocaine into your relationship.
No.
Or your life, actually.
No,
just don't.
No.
Well, I mean, when I said like, having kids changes a relationship. It does. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean in a bad way. In many ways, your relationship with your spouse will get better when kids come along and all that. But there's also a mistake many people make, and that is thinking that if there's problems, kids will fix them.
Everything.
And that is not true. Your dynamic will change, your life will change, your relationship will change. That doesn't necessarily mean for the worse or for the better. It's going to have it's good aspects and its bad aspects is how it changed, right?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
You're going to take the good and the bad, the ugly all together, yeah.
So, but I mean, the truth is what every parent should do is make a certain point of every night about the two of you.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's really easy to make your entire relationship about your kids once the kids come along. Mm-hmm. It's really easy for it just to literally be all about, well, we got to get the kids up, and then we got to get the kids to daycare, or we got to get the kids to the play date, we got to get the kids to this kind of thing, and now we got to feed the kids, and don't forget to get the kids. We got to go shopping for the kids. I got to get some clothes for the kids. We got to get groceries for the kids. We better get home, make some dinner for the kids, and then we got to pick up the kids, and then we get the kids, and now we got to get the kids ready for bed after we fed the kids. Okay, and it's easy then for everyone else to go. It's easy at that point. The kids are now in bed, but you've spent your entire day all about the kids or work or whatever. It's very easy to go, all right, I'm going to go in this room, you go in that room. You watch your shit, I'll watch my shit,
or I'm
whatever.
Just gonna pass out.
Or I'm going to pass out or whatever, right? So what I would say, if I had any advice to give people, would be make sure that every day you have some kind of time with your spouse.
Okay.
That you have an hour, even if it's watching TV, if it's something you both like together. Right, and so
make the time to make the time.
Do you like do the date nights? Because there's always that intentional. You always hear be intentional, and once a week or once a month, go out just you and your partner, and it's also like that whole scheduling sex idea too. Not that we have to go deep into that, but it becomes a huge part of maintaining that relationship, right? So is that something that you're able to do?
Yeah, we but a lot of times we do date lunches. I don't necessarily do date nights.
I guess
But you find, like I said, you find something. You find that time just to be with each other at night or something, like I said. But find time to get out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy. Not even necessarily date nights. What's really funny about being married and having kids is that it's really easy for your life to be, all right, 8 o'clock, I'm on that couch. Right? And then, routine. It's easy to get in. Well, not just a routine, but this routine of not leaving the house. Right. It's really easy. And dude, and I mean that in an affectionate way. There's so many nights that I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I don't have to leave the house, and I don't want to, and I love it. And I'm curled up in front of the fireplace channel drinking scotch.
Yeah.
Right? But what'll happen is that it's like 6 months later, you're suddenly like, holy fuck, I'm bored. Maybe it's because I have barely left the house after 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock was past 6 a.m.
That's what my buddy was saying. He just had a baby girl, and he's on paternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his wife are each taking 6 months. And after 3 months, he was just like, I need to go back to work. Like, there's only so many video games I can play in a day. She cries once every 2 hours. I'm like, 10 minutes, all right, you're back down, and I got nothing to do. I'm bored out of my mind.
That would have been an interesting thing to have paternity leave or to have that option for myself. I didn't... I'm the sole provider on that side, so it's a little bit different. And I on days where I'm in full dad mode, I go, how the hell did she do it? How did she do it for that long? And because I want to literally sedate them and have my own time, but I can't, right? So, but I mean, all props to the ones who can and hold on to that. But
No, being a comic, were you able to take leave, or what did you do around that when she was born?
No, when my first daughter was born, I was doing the talk radio show.
Okay.
So I was, working every day, 5 days. That was 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, the show. But then I also had to do show prep and stuff. So I was actually, working. But they were also more normal hours, right? Not like being a comedian where it's like, oh, this week I'm working Thursday, Friday, 12 hours a week.
Yeah.
But next week I'm working Wednesday through Sunday. You
had a regimented 9 to 5.
3 days away or whatever, right? It was different, right? So, but when I had the radio show, it was like a regular gig, nice, regular
consistent
schedule,
hours,
right? Consistent hours, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, it wasn't bad. I wasn't working 12-hour days or something, right?
Yeah.
So, but my wife took the maternity leave and for both of our kids. And, this is kind of a funny thing, too, because what she would tell me is, I don't know how women in the States do it. Because, down there, the maternity leave is only 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 2.
If, I was I
healing
think
time,
a friend
or a month or
something
some shit, right? And my wife, even after 6 months, was like, I don't know, I couldn't imagine already being back at work. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Americans are out for 4 weeks and then they got to go back or shit.
With a $150,000 hospital bill, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? And so, My
$3,000 aspirins. All right.
Yeah, it's like what, $2,400 just to hand the baby to, from the nurse.
Never mind the machine that goes ping.
Yeah,
the machine
that goes ping.
I've heard of some dads that took paternity leave.
Yeah.
I've heard of some dads that did that and loved it.
Well, Tavis
did it.
Yeah, he's a stay-at-home. He's full leaned into it. So
sure.
I'm taking 6 weeks because the government of Canada has now unleashed this new policy that if your partner is taking the full 35-week mat leave, the other partner can be eligible for at least 5 weeks. So you can top it up to 40, but the other one has to take a full 35, and then it's got to be split.
Wow.
So I'm going to take 6 weeks off when baby Maddie comes, and
very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of just have 6 weeks, right? To really do that bonding and attachment.
And you do that. Yeah. You know, it's my wife always talks about, you know, whenever she hears about people not taking maternity leave or the shorter ones or whatever, she says, no, that whole bonding that you go through, you know, it's real, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, you know, I envy that. And I think it's also, let me ask you guys this. Well, not you yet, but but do you, I was reading that a lot of fathers have this issue when I talk about relationships changing or whatever. They don't mean to, but subconsciously you're jealous of your kid because now your wife is now giving the attention, all the attention to this kid, where once you got all the attention, right?
I had that a little bit with Eddie.
Yeah.
But then I realized
Eddie was his first.
Eddie's my first. Yeah, my oldest. I had that a little bit with my son, mostly just because I a very physically strenuous job, and that little bit of intimacy time and that downtime is like, oh, look at this. I wish I could just be held and fed, you know. And I was kind of just missed out on that intimacy that was there previously. But then I realized, wow, for the greater good. Like, what am I going to do? Crib death him? No. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to, no.
He's already been murder-suicided
It's already been murder-suicided once, so we're not going to go like, no,
that's on our pilot episode.
It was fleeting. It was fleeting. Erica, I was not so much envious with, not so much with the second one.
It's not and when I said that, you get jealous of your kid or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not in a malicious way.
No,
right? You know what I mean? But it's just and that is one of those things. There's a great book out there called All Joy No Fun.
Okay.
And I'll look it up now. Look it up, everybody, on Amazon.com. The book's called All Joy No Fun, but it is all about analyzing parenthood and, you know, really getting to the heart of reality versus expectations and things like that.
Yeah.
And in the book, the author, you know, does all this research and all that to find out, do people actually get happier after childbirth, or what's the best ages, or what's the biggest demographic that doesn't, and things like that. And it's a really interesting.
There's a lot of stats into it. It'd be really interesting to pick that one up.
I've started reading Happiest Baby on the Block. Which is one of those international
I've heard of it.
bestsellers.
Yeah.
It's great, but like, you know, the biggest thing that it talks about that I found fascinating, because it kind of talks about the attachment and bonding and stuff, but it talks about how human babies are born a trimester too early, and part of that is just because our bodies can't handle it. So in other cultures where they have them swaddled and like right at their hip or at their side for that first like 3 to 6 months, and they're never apart, those babies typically are crying less, which is leading to happier relationships and healthier relationships with the children as well. And that we in a North American society are so much easier to put down in a crib and, oh, baby needs to learn to cry, versus that idea of, hey, taking that extra 3 months and bringing it in there, and you have that new attachment or that new bonding. And I know that's a tangent from the jealousy aspect of it, but
no.
But it would ultimately kind of tag into that idea of, do we get happier after having kids? I think it depends on your actual experience in raising kids and the product of said kids as well.
Yeah, I often look at, you know, when I say, like, you know, you get jealous of your kid and all that, I look at my life and I go, okay, I'm an entertainer, and I've been an entertainer my entire life. So this is the thing I know, and this is what I was before and since my kids were born, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I often go, well, is it just that as someone who's used to being the center of attention, is that jealousy that now I'm not, right? Like especially at home or in a relationship or whatever, right?
Kind of analyzing the own ego, stepping back for a second.
But then so sometimes I wonder though, I go, do normal dudes who have a job, doing taxes, do they feel this way too? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not used to being the center of attention or whatever, so we are.
But it could be that at home is the only time when they are the center of attention, right? So it's like a double whammy for them where they lose.
Maybe it's even worse for them.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
Whereas we get to go on stage each night and,
bask in the glory, right?
As long as the audience likes us.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, and in that book, All Joy, No Fun, that's one of the things that's addressed, where they say, and also, that also happens to the moms too. It doesn't just happen to the dads. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the dad is so overwhelmed and adoring of the kid that he begins to neglect his wife. You hear that a lot. And then the wife subconsciously, is jealous of the kid because of this, this kind of, you don't resent them or whatever, but it does. And that is also one of those things. I tell, my friends who are going to have kids, your relationship with your spouse will change. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but now you guys have to share your love and that love and attention you gave each other. You're now going to be giving to someone else. Yeah. And it is easy at times to look at, your significant other and be like, hey, what about me? What about me? Yeah. And
how long have you and your wife been together?
13 years.
13 years. And how long have you been doing comedy?
We've been married 8 years. So how long have I been doing comedy?
Yeah.
I'm 46 now, and I did my first open mic at 18.
Okay, so like when you guys got together, comedy was already a huge...
Oh, I met her because I was on tour.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her. I was on tour, and she was visiting a friend in Montreal, and I was on tour in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And I met her in a pub, and we talked and had a few drinks, and I said, come to my show tomorrow. And she did. And then we've been together ever since then. Right? So I was a comedian. I was a full-time comedian when she met me. Okay. So, you hear a lot of, and this is why a lot of comedians' relationships fail if they're with somebody before they were a comedian.
Yeah.
Right? Because they knew you when you had a stable job and a different life, and you didn't drink so much. Right, and there was no going out of town for days at a time. And then all of a sudden you're touring and you're doing all this, and that person's like, "Whoa, I didn't sign up for this. When I met you, you were managing Burger King. I like that." Right?
I have an ex-wife. I understand.
Yeah. But it's a different thing if I've seen that with other comedians. Like when you meet your significant other already established as a comedian, it's a
little bit.
Well, it's different because then they become a fan of you as they're like growing to like you at the same time. So like, I don't know. At least that's my situation.
Maybe.
She's a fan of my work, so it makes it easier to be in a relationship with someone who legitimately likes the things you say on stage.
Yeah, that does help in their understanding of that addiction that is the stage in itself as well.
That's an interesting aspect of it because I don't think anybody, except comedians or except entertainers and all that, could understand that addiction of being on stage.
Oh, fair enough.
They may accept it. They may accept it and they may go, "Oh, I can see this is your thing, so I respect it."
Yeah.
I don't think they could ever really understand it. And my wife has said that. My wife has said, "This is what you do. This is your dream. This is your job. I absolutely respect that. This is what you did when I met you. I totally respect it. I support it. I don't know why the fuck you would want to do it."
I was in New York City last weekend, and I even said to her, we had 2 comics that had bailed on the trip just beforehand, and I said, "Hey, we've got room in the Airbnb. Do you want to come to New York City?" She's like, "Fuck no." Like, I know you're just going and you're just going to go show to show to show to show, whether you're on stage or just watching comedy. You're going to hang around at venues, and all you're going to do is just snooze, and you're going to be awake for 21 hours at a time. And that does not sound fun to me. I love New York City, but that doesn't sound fun to me. I don't understand why this is a fun trip for you.
And she was spot on.
I had the time of my life, but she would have hated it.
I have a super envy boner on that one for sure. That's,
yeah, so I mean that's the thing. My wife absolutely respects what I do and supports what I do, and she'll go, I don't I don't understand why you would want to do it. And she hates the comedy business, and she should.
Yeah.
It's
rightfully so.
It's a terrible business.
Well, I come home and I'll complain about something, and she's like, "I hate that person." And I'm like, you don't even know that person.
Still, just getting riled up with stuff. Yeah.
How does I know you're touring less, but like you were in Ottawa like a few months ago.
Yeah.
You do Kingston as well. Do you do the Comedy Nest in Montreal?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, so like
That's where I met my wife.
Oh.
Okay, so you're still actively out there and doing shows. How do you handle those weeks when you're away from your kids and your wife? Like, do you call them back? Like, do you FaceTime? Or like, how do they handle it?
Oh, no, I don't want to see them. We FaceTime. We FaceTime, and then my wife and I still are just constantly texting each other throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's the best thing about technology these days is it's not I got to get back to the hotel, and that's when my wife and I have that call, and and she'll call collect or blah blah, or I'll charge it to the room, and then we'll talk for a few minutes, and that's the joy is that we're essentially still talking to each other all day.
All day, it's in your pocket.
Yeah, and then like I said, I'll do FaceTime in the evenings, not necessarily every day, but I do.
Yeah, I did a trip to Edmonton to do a couple of shows out there and other construction business that was combined with it, and that was a very big help was FaceTime. Being able to call up, and the kids didn't quite catch that it was Dad through the phone. And then every time I picked up the phone, they were like, "Who's through the phone?" And just magic, So. But it's thankful for technology for that. I can't imagine another time. Well,
I also think about how my kids are going to be because of technology. Like already, my 2-year-old, just the other day, and we're talking about someone who's still not, she's almost 2. So she's still not speaking in complete sentences, right? It's words here and there. Walks over, picks up my iPad off the ottoman, turns and goes, "My pad," and then walks away with it. And she already knows what the thing is. And I remember my niece was 3 years old or something like that, and I was visiting my brother, and she was playing on an iPad, and I reached over, and I was like, "Okay, time for lunch," and I took it away, and she took the iPad back from me, and I said, "I'm going to turn this off," and I took it back, and I went to turn it off. That second she took it away from me, she had changed the password and locked me out of it. She was 3. And that was I'm going to take that away from you. And she didn't say it, but in her head she was like, "Oh yeah, well you're not getting in the fucking thing." And she locked me out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I look at that and I go, see, like we're everyone in this room old enough to have remembered when you didn't carry a phone on you all the time. It didn't have a camera and you couldn't video call people, right?
Yeah.
So we go, "Wow, look at this technology. This is amazing." Whereas if you go to my daughter and go, "I have a phone with a camera on it," she'll go, "Well, fucking of course you do." Like, that's not a big deal, Dad. Oh, video call. We've always had video call, Dad.
I bought Maddie a robot. And it's like you're like 2+. She's not even born yet. But we were at like this like outgrow outplay consignment sale, and I found this robot that like the kids can chase around, and it like makes music and all these smiley faces. And I was like, I'm gonna have more fucking fun with this than she is, because I didn't get any of this shit as a kid.
Your kid's going to be terrified of that thing, by the way.
100%. You're going to freak out. It's totally
terrified.
It's only going to be the reason they go against Skynet. It's like, "Oh no! Sentient, scary trauma."
I'm so excited to get for the robot.
But it's just like my parents, there were things that I had that they didn't have growing up with, that they looked at as like just technological wonder. You know what I mean? They just looked at like, whoa, that's how I'm going to be with stuff that my kids just think is mundane. You know what I mean? I'm
just run of the mill.
I still think having a camera phone, having this amazing computer in my pocket every day is incredible, right? Yeah. Whereas my daughters have never known a time when you didn't have these, so they're just going to go, "Oh, well, that's just it's like putting on a belt."
It takes more technology to play Angry Birds than it did to send like the first shuttle to the moon.
They show those photos of the hard drives being loaded in on planes.
Yeah,
this is 10 megabytes and it costs X amount of millions of dollars, and they're like, "Now here's a micro SD." It's like
65 megabytes. Yeah. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're living just in the 50s, early scene of Back to the Future?
Yeah. Oh.
You got a Pepsi, pal. You're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Give me a Pepsi free.
Yeah.
A Pepsi free.
You want a Pepsi, pal? You gotta pay for it.
What's with the life preserver? Yeah.
George thinks he's gonna drown. I mean, I'm a different, and this is advice I'll give to every dad out there, okay? As you grow older, be happier with the changing world and be happier that things are easier for your kids. I can't stand it when I hear curmudgeonly shit like, back when I was a kid. Okay, yeah, it was not better. No. It was not better when you were a kid. No, you weren't more respectful of your elders. No, toys weren't less safe, but somehow okay. Like, none of that is true. There's always someone's like, when I was a kid, our toys were made of metal and we didn't get killed. No, but many people did.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you made it. That's like
that lead paint from China. Yes. It just had a nice taste to it.
They didn't make those stats public for a reason.
I've just always been amazed at people that try to argue that fewer deaths is a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, the playground was made of metal. Okay, 30 kids died that year. No kids died the next year when you got the plastic. But the metal was better!
The metal toughened us up. It made us mad.
You know.
That's why he has scars on the back from the burning hot slide.
The burning hot slide, yeah.
They all have like PTSD, like they've been in Nam. But all they did is go down a slide on a hot summer day.
The slide was made of metal and it burned the back of my knees. I've seen hell. I've seen pain.
I've been in the shit.
No, but I tell people, I go, you should want things to actually be easier for your kids.
Of course.
You should want more technology and better things. And I'm not in my day things were better. I'm not that person at all. I look forward and I go, oh cool. I hope one day that there are no jobs.
Yeah.
And that we live in the Star Trek world where you just pursue your dreams
and whatever you want to do.
Everyone has a computer that makes them a sandwich. Just by asking for it. Like, I hope that world exists for my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's better than, like, I grew up reading those Tom Clancy Net Force books where everyone had, like, a cerebral implant. And they,
like the early Matrix?
Like the early Matrix, right? And so that's always where I thought technology was going to go, but I definitely like the less invasive way.
Yeah.
Use your face.
You ever read Harrison Bergeron?
What did he write?
No, that's the name of the story. Harrison Bergeron is a Ray Bradbury story.
I have not.
I think it's Ray Bradbury. Yeah, and they made a movie out of it, a TV movie out of it with Sean Astin. But the idea of it is
Rudy.
So the idea of the like if you see the movie, for instance, you see the movie and it starts off and it's 1955 and you see all the 57 Chevy or whatever, it's the 50s, you see all the Chevys and everybody in the big cars and they're at the diner and the waitress comes out roller skating, gives them all that, but they all have these headbands on that are like from the future. It turns out this is like 100 years in the future or something like that.
Oh.
The idea of Harrison Bergeron is that there's been another civil war and it's been decided that there'll be less strife in the world if everyone is average. And so those headbands that they put on.
Is that the one that gives the electric shock if they like get stimulated?
No.
Okay.
But the whole idea of it is that in the future, everyone's wearing these headbands. Like I said, it goes around the temples, around the back of the head, and the idea of it is it's neat. They read at one point the Second Constitution. Mm-hmm. Is what they call it, and it says all men are not created equal. This is the job of government to make them so. And so what they've decided is that everybody's happier if they're all average, and so that puts everyone's intelligence level right around, this middle
like
mark,
baseline, right around complacent.
Well, that's what it is, it's everybody's kind of, and so it's said in it that after the next American Civil War or whatever, it was decided that it was best if everybody was average, and the time period that people thought was the happiest was the 50s. And so that's why everything is modeled on the 50s. Okay. That's why they've got the old cars and all that again, despite the fact that this is in the future. And so everybody's kind of at the same not intelligent level, right?
Yeah.
But this guy, Harrison Bergeron, is suddenly showing signs of brilliance and all that. And so he's pulled out of school and told and hired by the government where they do actually have geniuses still working trying to design this society and make this society of average people work, and that's what that book's about. It's really neat. It's a really neat book.
Yeah, it's definitely like an interesting study in sociology too, right?
Yeah. Well, and it goes into that idea of this isn't. We're not really talking about parenthood. No. But it goes into that, when bad things were better back then. Yeah. That kind of thing, and it's just so funny to me because I tell people all the time, it's just not true.
It isn't. No.
It's just not true.
No, it's not.
The 50s actually sucked.
Maybe they got rid of polio at one point in time.
Sure.
And that sucked. Everything sucked. Yeah.
But I mean, every decade sucked. There's shitty parts of every generation. But everyone puts on the rose-colored glasses to their past. And they go, I did that recently. My wife was talking to me, and she's like, oh, what do you remember about high school? And I go, oh, like 4 best years of my life. I had so much fun, and I made so many friends. And I look back at what I did, and I was creative. And that's where I really fell in love with performing and writing and all. Oh, it was just so great. And then the other day, I was sitting around, and I had a couple of drinks, and a song came on from when I was a kid, and I was sitting there listening to it, and I went, no, I got picked on a lot, and I didn't have any fucking money, and I had bad acne, and I slowly started to put all this shit together, and I was like, no, I think it was only the 4 best years of my life because I wasn't paying rent. That all ended the year after I left.
Like the moment you left high school, it's then like, oh shit, I got real shit I have to do.
Yeah.
My high school just had their 50th anniversary, and I only found out about seeing photos of it on Facebook, and I was like, oh, it's nice to be invited back.
Hope you had a good time, everybody.
There's no middle finger emoji on that.
I wouldn't have gone back. High school was 4 years too many.
See, but like I said, but here I am with the rose-colored glasses looking back. And I'm blinded by my own nostalgia. When, like I said, if you were to actually ask me at 15, hey, you want to be here forever? I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But now you look back and you're like, especially you get in your 40s, you start going, all right, what was a little acne? You know what I mean? If I could wake up and my adulthood has all been a dream. Yeah. And it's 1990.
Oh wow.
So
but it's not true. It wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be good.
So we've talked a little bit about technology, and we've also kind of thrown in stuff around high school, and you have 2 daughters, you have a daughter, I'm having a daughter.
Bitches, am I right?
No, not where I was going with that. Where I was going with that is like social media sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're performers and it sucks for us. Like I can't imagine how fragile like a young impressionable like child, whether they're a male or female, will be able to deal with it. And you've already got your the 2-year-old that's like my pad, right? So like they're going to be seeing these things and they're going to be on it before you know. Like what level? Like first off, I guess, where is your responsibility in protecting from social media? But also, how do we deal with that? Because that's coming up. Your daughter's 5; she's going to start seeing some of these things over the next couple of years, right?
Yeah. The problem that I see with social media is what's odd is I was looking back through storage, cleaning out some storage stuff, and I found a box, and in it I had journals from when I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
And I went back and I read, and a lot of them are mundane about an exam I've got coming up or something like that. But there was a lot of stuff in there about girls I was dating at the time, and this overly emotional teenage, heartbreak, angst and all that, and pouring my heart out on the page or whatever, right? Now everyone does that in public. And so, I have these journals and all that, and we've all seen it. There are people out there that have made Facebook their open diary, their open-faced diary, where, I want to say to people sometimes, like, and I'm a guy who's shared too much. I'm a guy who's ranted about something and looked back at it later and gone, oh, I got to delete this. This is crybaby bullshit or whatever, right? Yeah. But and it's not just young people. So we can't sit here and go, well, kids they're sharing too much on social media. No, I know middle-aged adults who are sharing too much on Facebook. So
especially political views.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll give people that.
Yeah.
I'll give people the politics because you know what? In some ways, everyone needs some kind of a round table or
the discussion
or town hall, and that's what Facebook has become. But I mean, like
public discourse.
I mean, like when I see people go on Facebook or Twitter or anything, and dude, a friend of mine the other day was feeling bad as she posted a photo of her on Instagram crying. Right? Like, so it's even on Instagram people are sharing too much. They're sharing photos of how they look while they're like ugly crying.
What is that filter? What is that filter, by the way? What is that? I'm not 100%
Vienna.
Sure. Oh, well, yeah.
I was going to go lo-fi because it's low class. But
So one of the things I look at my daughters, 5 and 2, getting older, I go, well, is oversharing and is making your diary public and all that, is that just going to get worse, or are we going to reach a point where people will dial it back?
I would think it would be dial it back, and that's one of the conversations that I'm going to have with my kids of like, hey, everybody can see that. I'm not telling you not to share your feelings, but maybe share it to the physical pen and paper. Would be a little bit more traditional in that.
Or have a human being to share it with before you share it with a robot.
That's probably a lot more.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the thing that no, I don't think any dad wants to have to say, but it needs to be said at some point to your kids, if you have daughters especially. Right? Porn is forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Porn is forever. I was reading something the other day about all these like young girls who at 18, 19 or whatever go and decide they're going to do like a couple of handheld cam porns or whatever to make some cash or blah, blah, blah. And I go, porn is forever. Just know it.
Do you know who John Ronson is?
I know the name.
So he's a British guy. He did a book called So You've Been Publicly Shamed.
Oh, I know that book.
Yeah, he's also done like They, where he like went in with like terrorists and like infiltrated like terrorist organizations just to talk to them and get their stories. He just did an Audible series called The Last Days of August about August Ames, the porn star that killed herself.
Yeah.
And then did a 4-part series on Audible called The Butterfly Effect about the amateur porn industry and about how they're bringing in 18 and 19-year-old girls, and with the rise of casting couch has been around forever, but like the idea of the casting couch, and you come in and we'll pay you $1,500 for your first porno shoot. It goes up on Pornhub, and then they're promised all these other gigs, but then they're like, nope, that's what you get. That's what we do, is we only do your first time. And now all these girls who were promised like almost a career are now stuck going, and like some of them will go off and become cam girls, or they'll go off and they'll do like Patreon stuff where they'll sell their own private photos or whatnot. Like, but they'll find their way into the sex work, and a lot of it starts with that Pornhub idea of there's a huge fetish for 18, 19-year-olds. There's this huge fetish for desperate amateurs and casting couch. So let's throw a huge chunk of money at you right away. And it's also kicking a lot of people who've been in the porn industry for so many years out of the porn industry, because it's devaluing their work. In the same way, like we could compare it to comedy, right? Where an open micer will open up a show next to a club and say free Friday night comedy, and it's
comedy,
Butt Fuck Jerry and everybody else.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do porn, just know it's forever.
But there's also a lot of manipulation around it, is what he kind of went into.
No, I get that.
It's a fascinating Audible series. I would highly recommend everybody listen to it. It's The Butterfly Effect by John Ronson.
I'd like to hear it. No, but that's so that's also the porn is forever thing. On that same note, a lot of the stuff on social media, you can delete it or whatever, but once people have seen it and read it, and it's out there, and so that's a thing I worry about when it comes to my girls getting older. Is teenagers are already mean, or not even teenagers, just kids are mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When people are like, oh, kids are so sweet. No, kids are mean, and they're cruel to each other. And every kid is going to, at some point, have to deal with that. My only issue is that cruelty and that meanness that kids can be to each other, it multiplies with technology.
Well,
100%.
Yeah, we won't name names because I don't have permission to, but we're working with a comic this week whose daughter, he's got a young daughter off at school, and he started getting text messages this weekend from a boy in her class who is trying to text her to bully her, right?
Yep.
Be like, hey, where's so-and-so? And he's like, I don't know, who the fuck is this, and why do you want to talk to my daughter? And it was like an attempt just to bully, right? And it came out of nowhere. She's what, 8 or 9 years old? This is what's happening. So that terrifies me a little bit, because
there's no reprieve from it. Like, I may have had dickheads in high school and junior high that like We didn't like dealing with those people. And like you say, with the rose-colored lenses of history off, you go, hey, there's crappy points in time, but at least I had a reprieve from it. I could come home. I could turn on The Simpsons. I could forget about that shit and just reset my mind. Yeah. The scariest part about that is it's, like you say, it's forever, and it's always being engaged. And it doesn't matter from where. Either if it's a bot and seeing it to sell you something, or it's another person to jump on that bandwagon to bully. Mm-hmm. That's the scariest part with me on that. And for myself, with getting the kids involved with social media, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pick an age to say like 12, that's when you can have accounts, right? I don't know if that's going to be even possible, right? But I know for as far as a device goes, or if they want a phone plan, it'll be like, what's going to be your job, friend? Okay, because that device has got to be at least paid for, and if you want to be engaged onto it,
right? Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give you that headache, for free. Yeah, and be like, oh, you paid for it for yourself. Welcome to the adult world, right?
Well, you've also got to. I mean, everyone will tell you this. I mean, it starts with TV, but it's all of it. You do need to limit your kids' screen time.
That's right.
Limit their screen
for sure.
And I mean, and that could mean the TV, but that also means the iPad or the phone or whatever. You've got to do that. You got to limit their screen time, or you got to find a way where it's being used right. I mean, like I'll tell you this. I mean, there's far more like entertaining and yet educational television for kids now than when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Right. So okay, if you're gonna put your kid in front of the TV. Just find the educational program.
Find some TVO, folks. Find something along those lines.
Skip the Max and Ruby.
And I don't know why kids love it. My daughter loves Max and Ruby.
Ruby's such a bitch.
But I don't know. But it's not even that. It's just the most boring cartoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's no plot lines.
There's some that are funny. Go Away Unicorn. If you ever get a chance to watch Go Away Unicorn. That's a funny goddamn. They put jokes in there for adults to get as well. So
nice. Okay. Well, yeah. Then there's been a lot of that.
But Max and Ruby is just this boring cartoon with two rabbits and one barely talks, the other one just scolds the other. Max, that was my dinner.
My brother-in-law.
Come on, Max.
So much.
Okay. We're on the same page here with Max and Ruby. What about the Paw Patrol?
I've only seen Paw Patrol a couple times. My daughter doesn't. My daughter doesn't actually like it that much.
Okay.
So we've only seen, but I've got my daughter's into all of the anything princess.
Oh.
Anything princess, which is funny because we didn't put that in her, right? You know how like some parents.
This is going in her.
Oh, it's adorable. He's showing a picture of a kid sleeping.
It's a princess being read.
It's a princess being read a bedtime story by a dragon.
It's cute.
It is cute. So
there's a unicorn on the cover.
It's adorable.
It is.
Well, so the
also kind of creepy, but
so it is kind of creepy. So what was I saying?
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol. She didn't get Princess. We didn't get her into that. We didn't get her into Disney, any of that stuff. But somehow she got into it on her own because since she's been like 2, she's been into all the princess stuff. So she has several princess gowns and costumes, and when she graduated from kindergarten, they passed the mic around to all the kids and said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my daughter said, princess. Don't fucking laugh at that.
It's a great...
You don't know she won't. She could Meghan Markle the shit out of her.
It's a great response.
You don't even know.
I was actually just thinking, we ask kids what they want to be when they're so innocent.
When they have no idea. Yeah, I know. But she may do it. Dude, I get emails from Nigerian princes like, I'm gonna hook her up. When
she's totally good.
I'm gonna marry her off to a Nigerian prince.
Yeah.
A bunch of goats.
But and that was a funny thing because I remember everyone, that's so cute and all that. And I go, it's just as likely your kid's gonna be a fucking doctor. Like, your kid can't even. Your kid's eating the crayons. You're gonna tell me about how my daughter can't be a princess?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
He's gonna be wearing Velcro shoes till he's 14. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, like. And that happened too. One of the kids, they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the kid was like, doctor. And the whole place went, yay! Woo! The parents are going crazy. And I'm like, it's not fucking true.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. In fact, I bet of all the doctors in the world, far fewer than 1% at 5 said they were going to be one. Yeah. I mean, but this kid said it and everyone went crazy for it and everything. And I go, look, At 5, that kid thinks being a doctor means putting on a stethoscope and coming up to a stuffed animal and going, "You're okay, you're not sick," or "Take 2 cookies and call me in the morning." Like they don't fucking know what being a doctor entails. If you look at them and you go, "Oh, by the way, this is going to be like nearly a decade of schooling, and you may go through problems with addiction and alcoholism and depression," has a really high suicide rate and everything that you could possibly imagine, and you're going to have your entire life paying off all the student loans from this. But what'd you say you want to be again? Princess!
Sit him down, make him watch like a video of a heart surgery where the guy dies on the table.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you want.
No, just show him a video of the doctor at home with his wife throwing shit at him. "You're too drunk. I'm a doctor.
Where's my cocaine?
Where's my cocaine? Get it yourself. I can't. These hands make us money. These hands. Do you understand? I'm God with these hands." Show him that.
Why won't they stop shaking their assholes?
What do you want?
Because I don't have my coke.
Now what do you want to be when you grow up? Fireman.
There you go. There's another field.
That's just it. Kids only know 5 jobs.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I'd love
I
to
said
see that.
mailman when I was in kindergarten.
Of course you did.
And you're just like nowadays I'm like, who the fuck wants to be a mailman? But as 5 years old, I was like, all right, I'll do that.
But that's what I mean. So that's why it's so funny. Come up to the kids and go, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" The kids will start naming off 5 jobs and they're like, "Those are the only 5 in the world. I don't know anything else." Like none of those kids ever stands up and goes, "Middle manager at a pharmaceutical sales company in Saskatchewan."
Yeah.
Like that would be an honest, "What are you going to be when you grow up?"
Yeah.
Answer.
I went and I saw Michelle Obama speak in Montreal with her Becoming book tour, and at the beginning they did this 10-minute video of them interviewing people saying, "I am becoming," and then it would be like them saying something like, "I'm becoming a leader in my community. I am becoming a nurse practitioner. I'm becoming so," and then it cuts to like this little kid is like, "I'm becoming an astronaut," and you're just like, "No, kid, you're becoming a failure."
Probably a dredge on society. I just love to see that cut to Tyrone Big and "I'm becoming high as fuck." Just running away.
I'm becoming an astronaut. Okay. Maybe.
We'll see how the space program goes.
But let's be honest.
Are you going to the moon or Mars?
Yeah.
It's both now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an astronaut. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Are you done with having kids? 2 and done?
Yeah, I've actually been snipped.
Yes, I saw that online. The post-op photo. That's something I really want
you
to share.
put a photo online after.
It wasn't post-op. I took a
Was
selfie
it pre?
mid-snip.
Oh shit!
I actually took photo as he was doing the vasectomy. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
I think-
that's a dick pic to send.
Did I film it?
Yeah.
No, I actually.
was it?
I actually also filmed like a short video. Like I filmed like a 20-second video of me like going, "All right, I'm in the midst of having my vasectomy right now," and like you can hear the doctor giggling.
That's what you want a doctor to do, is to start giggling.
Steady hands, start laughing.
It took 15 minutes.
Yeah, mine was nothing as well.
We're hoping to have Dr. Weiss come in as a guest at some point. Dr. Weiss has performed how many?
50,000
50,000 operations in Ottawa. He is like the go-to guy for the snip, and supposedly he has zero sense of humor.
None.
Really?
So cold as ice.
We just want to get him in here and just like make ball jokes for an hour.
Oh, absolutely.
I also think he has a bit of a fetish in his process, but I'll talk to him when we get him in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna wait 18 months, make sure healthy baby, and then I'm going for a snip. Right? We're doing a one and doneer. We said that we would maybe have 2 if the first one was a boy, just because we were so convinced we were having a girl. Right? And we're like, if we don't have a girl, we're going to be disappointed. So we're having a girl, which means that I can get it snipped.
I'm amazed at nowadays. It's a lot of one and done or 2 and done when kids and everything. It's so funny how that's such a generational thing. My mom is one of 9.
Shit.
My dad is one of 6.
My dad was one of 4. My mom was one of 4.
And I grew up with lots of people that were, from like families of 4 kids and things like that.
Yeah.
And now you just don't see it. And when you do see people like our age that have like 3 or 4 kids or something like that, you're like, well, I mean, are you starting an Irish step band? Like, what you like? You know what I mean? Like, you actually are like, how? It's
my big thing is the environmental impact. Is like, if we were in a better position as a planet, I would maybe want more than one kid. But between the next 2 years, there's going to be close to 150,000 diapers going into a landfill that can't be biodegraded, and Ottawa doesn't have the processes to break down biodegradable diapers. So like, we can do cloth diapers, which we're going to do because...
Good luck with that.
Oh my God, it's going to make me so sick. But it's the whole idea is like, I honestly, I don't want my... Like, I said it on stage very sadly and depressingly the other night, where it's like, she's going to grow up to be 35 years old and then the planet's going to end, so good fucking luck, right?
That's a killer closer, by the way.
I know. I got off stage and Dammer was like, so, you had a fantastic set. One note.
My biggest thing is that how is it fair to, I don't know, I guess I just don't, to give them equal amount of attention or to be fair to that many kids if there's that many. You're buying for so little of my time and my knowledge and my affection, and how's that fair? That's just for me.
Maybe you can
make it work. I guess I don't know from that perspective.
You could do the age gap thing. Like my father's oldest brother's 18 years older than him, right? So like by the time my dad was born, like the 2 oldest were getting ready to move out, so they're able to.
Well, I'm the oldest of 5 in my family.
Yeah.
Right. So but there's like again a huge age gap, right? Like when my baby brother was born, I was 15. Right. So there's a gap there. Also a remarriage for my dad, but. That's still huge,
Yeah. But I was reading about it, like it's especially the next generation coming up now, getting older and having kids, that it's all like one and done. That's the big deal. It's one and done. And we can talk about the environmental impact, but here in Canada, Canadians are not breeding fast enough to support the aging society.
No. Yeah, it's an issue. It's why we need our immigration, right? Yeah. And you hear the right who are like, stop bringing in immigrants. I'm like, well, do you want to retire?
Yeah.
Do you want to be able to retire at the age of 63 or 65 and enjoy the last 10 to 15 years of your life doing nothing? Or do you want to work until the day you die, shut the fuck up, and let like Muhammad come in and be a doctor? Because Muhammad's a fucking doctor.
Yeah. But at the same time, I can't imagine. I mean, 2 kids is so much to deal with. So I look back and I go, holy shit, my grandparents had 9 of you assholes? Like, it's just Jim Gaffigan said he has 4 kids, and someone said, what's that like? And he says, imagine you're drowning and someone hands you a baby. You know what I mean? And that's with 4. And I go, God, I feel like that too. Like, what kind of superhero are you to have 5 fucking kids now?
I guess you're only given what you can take, right?
You've seen Monty Python's Meaning of Life, right?
Yeah, of course.
The start of Every Sperm is Sacred, when it's just like a baby pops up.
Could you get that one?
I was pregnant. We're going to have to sell 6 of you to the mine.
And the medical science for the lawyer.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a really funny thing. It's also, I find it, we had 2 daughters, and what I find, and I was happy when my wife and I were both happy to find out we were having a second daughter, and people are always like, oh, you didn't want like one of both or blah, blah, blah. And I go, I don't know if this sounds weird, but I was really close with my brother, right? And so I wanted a second girl because that idea of the 2 sisters bonding, because me and my brother bonded, right? And my wife, she has a brother, and they've never been close, right? And so she said, I wanted 2 girls because I often wondered, would my brother and I have gotten along better if we'd been the same gender, right? If, you know. But I don't know. Then I'll meet some people like, no, I have a sister and we're thick as thieves, and I have a brother and I hate him, you know?
We talked about this Thursday at the show a little bit. The closest sibling to me is my sister, who's 2 years younger, and we never got along. You know, we still, we get along a lot better now. But even my brother and I didn't start getting along. My brother's 6 years younger than me until he was an adult, right? Like, it was like when he was 18 years old and I was 24, which when suddenly we were like, all right, we get each other now. You get along with your brother, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My closest brother, Carl, He's still back in Alberta.
They're part of the KKK.
Oh, is that it?
But,
Not the actual club. I know you're from down south, so you're like, oh, that's nonchalant. I've heard that.
I'm from Georgia.
Yeah. So that was not a huge shock. No, I get along good with him. The younger siblings, the two sisters and my youngest brother, because I never lived with them and never grew up with them, I really didn't form much of relationships with them until, again, adult life. And now it's been good. Yeah.
I just want to clarify, Chris is not part of the clan.
No.
It's Chris Kingsbury, KK, and Carl Kingsbury was also a K. So
there was a little club we started together called the
kid.
KKK. We literally did that together.
But they were like 7, right?
Yeah,
so like,
it was not like...
They didn't know.
We didn't know it.
It's funny. I just don't want our listeners to think.
No.
They already know you're a meth addict. They don't need to know.
They don't need to know that other weird...
My partner, I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. I share a lot of stuff about my partner, and then I just say, like, forgiveness is better than permission, right?
Yeah, usually.
She's got a brother. Her brother is my age. She's a little bit older than me. And she was saying, I know, right? She was saying that they got along, they didn't get along as kids. And it wasn't, like, same thing as it wasn't until they're like adults that they got along and that they're able to actually jest. And when he calls her a whore, she's like, I know you're joking and doing it out of love now. You're not doing it like being a bitch, right?
Yeah,
so
spiteful.
It's about kind of growing too. And these are the people you're growing with. And, you know, hopefully it just ends up being...
I was actually thankful to become a part of my younger brother's teenage life, and my moving out here and a part of my recovery coincided with the last 3 years of his high school. Some of the most impressionable years, I think, for a person coming in an adult, right? And he had a lot of questions, and I never said to him, don't do these drugs. But I said to him, here's what they're going to do to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do these things, I get that because it's a curiosity thing. But here's what's going to happen. Ecstasy is going to make you sad after prolonged use. Amphetamines are going to make you want to sleep and then just be angry.
We're talking about a coke crash, right?
Yeah, coke crashes are also the same thing. Such expensive regret.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
if you want to hate yourself for 24 hours and just have spent $300 to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Peyote buttons are going to make you think you're a turtle and then thank the planet that you're here, but then cry a little bit because you're killing it. You know what I mean? But so I armed him with that, and as a consequence, he didn't get into a lot of other drugs. Yeah. Like it's hallucinogens, weed.
Like psychedelics, right?
Yeah. But not like... A lot of his friends went right into the MDMA and the Molly. And he was just like, I know I'm good over here. I'll watch you guys. It's cool. I'm not going to anything.
So that was the big thing. Like, I used to be an addictions therapist in high schools, right? Mm-hmm. I used to work with youth as an addictions therapist. And one of the big things that I think that the youth really enjoyed coming and working with me is I would never be like, you cannot do this drug or you should not do this drug. Mm-hmm. It'd be like, what do you want to do? Let's look it up. What is it going to do to your body physically? What's it going to do to your mind mentally? Mm-hmm. What's it going to do to you at the age of 14 versus at the age of 19 or 25? And now you've got the information. If you choose to do this, how can you do it safely?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the important conversation when it comes to drugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna do a full episode about drugs.
Yeah, totally. Down the road.
It's going to be called Safe Cocaine.
We're just gonna bring piles of powdered sugar, and later, I know people can't see it, but we will be snorting powdered sugar.
Totally.
Yeah. We should be wrapping this up in the next minute or two, just because we're trying to keep this no more than an hour to an hour and a half.
So do it.
Any final thoughts? Any final parenting advice? Anything that you would say to our listeners out there? Hopefully you'll be episode 3, so hopefully we'll have at least 5 by then.
Okay, all right. No, you know what? The advice I give to every parent is the advice that my wife and I give each other all the time, and that is don't be too hard on yourself.
I like that.
That's great.
I like that.
I'm going to share that with my wife.
You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna screw up. You're gonna say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. Don't be too hard on yourself. You know what I mean? It's your parents struggled too. You just didn't see it. Yeah. And it's not even that they were good at hiding it. You were a kid and you didn't think about it. So, everybody makes mistakes and everybody screws up and every day is a new day. And, and I talk about your relationship is going to change or whatever. That doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't mean it's worse. It's you evolve with each other and you move on. And so don't be too hard on yourself.
Cool. So this episode is going to drop mid-July. So your Amazon Prime special will already be out?
Yeah, but it's not just on Amazon. It is on. It's in lots of places. It's a Dish on demand, DirecTV on demand, Rogers and Bell on demand. I believe it'll be in. It'll be on iTunes and all kinds of places.
What's it called?
Kind of, sort of, grown up.
Kind of, sort of, grown up. That's perfect. That's
perfect.
That's so perfect. That is perfect for this entire conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, check out Ward Anderson. Check out his special when it comes out in July. Thank you so much for being here, Ward.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And we'll check in with you later.
Parents, are you finding it hard and difficult to find some quality time together with your partner?
Cocaine.
Do you simply wish there were just more hours in a day?
Cocaine.
Well, have you heard of cocaine?
Cocaine!
That's right, cocaine. Tried, tested, and true. Let's listen to some of these happy customers' reviews.
Cocaine!
There you have it, folks. Cocaine. Consult your local dealer today.
Cocaine! And we're back with our Dick of the Week!
Dick of the Week!
Dick of the Week! Who is our Dick of the Week this week, Christopher?
The one, the only, Bert Kreischer. Absolutely, Bert.
Mr. Dad Bod himself. Mr. Bert Kreischer. If you do not know Mr. Bert Kreischer, he is one of the funniest comedians out there. And actually, that's why he's our Dick of the Week. This is going to come out in about 4 weeks because we're doing every second Sunday drops. So this is relevant to today, which is June 18th.
Yes. So Bert was down in Australia.
Yes. He's on a morning talk show, TV talk show.
TV talk show, live on across Australia television in the morning. And he told his daughter's coming-of-age period party joke.
Yeah, it's a funny joke.
Great joke.
It's a funny joke.
It engages, it brings you into his life, it's got a punchline, and it's great.
If you don't know the joke, he's got a special on Netflix called Secret Time, and he
goes into it. It's on Secret Time.
He goes into it, and it's all about, like, it's really empowering about, like, you know what, we're throwing this period party, and we're inviting some boys, and they have no idea why everything is red. Why we're eating spaghetti with marinara and drinking
any of it,
like red wine, and it's very funny.
Very funny. So he does this on Australian national television, and
they hated it.
No, boy, did they?
They were so angry.
There was hate mail instantly. Tweets.
Twitter just blew up, and they were like even the people that were hosting the show were like taken aback, and they were like, I don't know if we're allowed to laugh.
This is weird and awkward, and this isn't talked about on Australian television.
It was weird because it's fucking British.
Yeah, it's fucking British.
Come on, you guys are all cons. You know a thing or two about blood.
Not only are you guys on about cons, but like, let's go. Hey, one step further on this one. In '98, you guys legalized sex work, and then you have problems with period jokes. Come the fuck off.
Jim Jeffries is from you.
Yeah.
Lighten the fuck up, Australia. Bert Kreischer, you're a Dick of the Week.
Totally.
Dick of the Week.
Dick of the Week.
All right, our episode is almost done. Thank you for sticking with us. I hope that you've enjoyed things thus far. We have our What We Learned segment. I should stop calling things segments, man.
We have what we learned this week.
Yeah, what did we learn this week? Chris, what did you learn this week?
I learned this week pinworm vaccinations for one treat covers adults and kids, and pinworm's a fucking thing. Holy crap. Make sure kids wash their hands when they come out of the garden, or doing anything just in general. My wife has spent the better part of the week purging and cleaning every toy possible. And Eddie was complaining about his stomach hurting like a week ago. We're like, what is it? Is it gas or something? He was like, no, it really hurts. And then it would go away. And then, so pinworm. If your butt's checking and itching and you've had a shower.
You probably got damn worm. Yeah. And it's contagious.
Yes, and that's why every adult I had to spend $20 on every adult in the house.
Hey, can you tell me this?
What's up?
Does pinworm vaccines cause autism for the pinworm?
Probably. Totally. Because if the pinworms are like getting it all smart, like kind of a la Fry from like Futurama, you know, when he eats the salad and it gets worms in his stomach and it makes him super smart.
Oh.
These worms make you super stupid because it actually affects your moods and your balance and your emotional equilibrium because you're in pain, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's very like the kids had a bug up their ass, literally. They literally had a bug up their ass. So
do you shit out the worms?
Yeah, they die though, but you shit them out.
Oh, so it's not like you poop and then you see like little squiggly worms.
No, they die. This is like the chemical. They gas them in your intestines, literally.
One night, I'm so sorry, but this just one night there was a few comedians at Freddy Jones's place,
right?
And one of them called another comedian who's a marathon runner. It was like 1 a.m. and just left a message being like, "Hey, do marathoners poop while they're running?"
Some guys run the Boston Marathon too.
That's what their response was. Yeah, sometimes it was just like we had to know that at 1 a.m.
Yeah. I ain't stopping my time. I'm just not even gonna cop a squat because I'm just gonna shit and keep running. What did you learn this week, Champ?
Oh fuck. So I'm not a handy person. If daddy issues with Champ Kingsbury doesn't work out, we're gonna actually do a handyman television show called like Kingsbury and the Chump.
Yeah, basically I'll help him with everything. We put together some IKEA this week for some promotional photos and stuff like that.
Well, we put together IKEA furniture because I'm having a baby. And
That's
I'm
right.
Building a nursery.
Yeah, moreover, building a nursery. But
my baby is IKEA rich.
Yes, IKEA rich. He'll never be helicopter rich, though.
No.
Maybe.
That's a good Craig Fay reference.
It is a great.
You should check out Craig Fay's album, Helicopter Rich.
Helicopter Rich, and Craig Fay also has a podcast
with Rebecca Reeves. Yeah. I was almost going to say stop sucking Craig's dick, but no. This is a great podcast.
This is tonguing both of them. So
is it about talking villains?
Yes, talking villains.
Talking villains, and they talk about like the world, not the world, but like in pop culture, like the biggest villains and the baddies. Yeah. So what I actually learned this week. Other than the fact that we have withstood the IKEA relationship test.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Is that when you don't have Chris, you fuck shit up. I moved a freezer. Actually, I bought a deep chest freezer because we're having a baby. We should fucking get a Costco membership.
Sound investment.
I should stop saying fuck. There's gonna be a day when she's like, "What did my daddy do?" And then she's gonna listen to like episode 3 and be like, "My dad."
Yeah. Fuck.
I bought a chest freezer and I bought it off of Kijiji. I'm an idiot. I moved it in my future brother-in-law's truck. It was tight, like it was good. Then we moved it into the basement and we set it down. And it turns out I learned that once you set down a freezer, you gotta let it settle, or the Freon goes free, and the freezer doesn't work. So I plugged it right on in to be like, I want to make sure this motherfucker works.
Yeah,
and it worked. And so then we went out and we bought like $400 food, and we stocked this chest freezer.
Oh.
And then a week later, I was like, I want a pizza. That was this week.
And everything was done.
And it's gone. It just reeked, man. Yeah. Like I had to baking soda it. I vacuumed it. I went in like with a scrub. Kate threw up.
Oh yeah.
And then when Kate 100%. Threw up, she peed herself. That's what pregnant ladies do.
Yeah, that's right. Pressure on that bladder. Squirt.
Yeah.
No, that's bad. I'm sorry that happened to you, buddy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So if anybody wants to donate me a chest freezer, I can send you pics. I don't know how sex work works.
Oh, well.
We should have a Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon.
You want to see Matthew's left nipple?
$2.50.
It's hairy. Oh, fuck.
my God.
Guys, you guys have been a lot of fun this week. I say that on stage. I'm sorry. This has been a fun week.
This has. This has been a fun episode. And you can find us on our socials. Twitter at We Got Dad Issues.
Dad, not daddy.
Not daddy.
We got dad issues.
On Instagram at We Got Daddy Issues.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. YouTube, Daddy Issues with Champ and Kingsbury.
We should upload there soon.
Yes, we should. Facebook, Daddy Issues with Champ and Kingsbury, and the password for all accounts is those are the social platforms. Come and check us out. You can also find both of us on all those platforms as well. So give us a follow.
Yeah, we're gonna we retweet the shit out of Daddy Issues because we want people to follow us. So that's how you can find us. Just look and see who's retweeted it, and it's us.
That's right.
We are the only ones. Look, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Daddy Issues with Champ and Kingsbury was created by Chris Kingsbury and Matthew Champ. Produced by Chris Kingsbury and Matthew Champ, featuring Chris Kingsbury and Matthew Champ. It was edited by Matthew Champ. Air Melodica by Matthew Champ. Special thanks to Freddy Jones and Heather Hurst. Special thanks to Berg Kreischer, you're our Dick of the Week, and Vimy Brew Company.
And finally, special thanks going out to
Ward Anderson. You're one killer dude.